Welcome to the Far Eastern University Makati. The following are the house rules of the university. Always wear your ID inside the campus. Generally, eating is strictly prohibited in all areas except for the canteen. However, you may be allowed to have candies, crackers, cookies, or drinks in spill-proof containers in the classrooms. A dress code is also enforced in the university, and a violation of this can result to a denial of entry. Check if your class or professor has his or her own dress code. Here is the lay of the land. The Institute of Law Administration and the Dean's Office are located on the 6th floor. You can find the library on the 5th floor, the Office of the Administrator, room 301, and the Guidance Office on the 3rd floor, the Student Discipline and Student Affairs on the 2nd floor, and the Registrar's Office, Admissions and Financial Aid, the Cashier, Clinic, and the Canteen on the ground floor. Please note that the elevator only serves the ground, 4th, and 6th floors. If you need to access the other floors using the elevator due to a disability, please inform the Office of the Administrator. Here are other things to remember. As a student of the Far Eastern University, you are bound by the Student Code of Conduct and the Institute of Law Student Handbook. Membership in any organization that is not sanctioned by the university, such as fraternities and sororities, can be subject to disciplinary action, including but not limited to dismissal. Academic rules. The cut system. The institute implements a cut system. If you exceed the number of cuts allowed for a class, you will be considered dropped from the class and will receive a grade of 60. To determine the number of cuts, multiply the number of units of your class by 3. For instance, in persons and family relations, a 4-unit class, you are allowed a maximum of 12 cuts. 1 cut is equal to an R, so if you have a 3R class and you absent yourself from that class, you will have 3 cuts and not 1. Next, academic standing. The Institute of Law students are required to maintain a certain level of academic excellence. Numerical grades are given with students needing to obtain a grade of at least 75% to pass any subject. The breakdown on the computation of the grade for a particular subject shall be within the discretion of the individual professor, which must be conveyed to the class at the beginning of the semester. Finally, scholastic requirements. Except in highly meritorious cases authorized by the dean, all students must carry an academic load of at least 70% of the units required during each semester. Hence, a student who drops a subject that results in an academic load of less than the required 70% shall be automatically dropped from all other subjects enrolled in. Except as may be modified or waived by the dean, a student who fails to meet the required quality point index or QPI and or fails in any subject in a semester shall be automatically on probation for the following semester. The QPI is the required general weighted average of every student. The QPI for freshmen is 78%, while that for sophomores and juniors is 79%. Denial of readmission. Except as may be modified or waived by the dean, the following students shall not be admitted for enrollment for the following semester. First, a student who gets a failing mark in at least 1/3 of the total units carried in any semester, regardless of the number of subjects. Second, a student who is on probation and fails any subject and/or does not meet the required QPI. Or third, a student who does not obtain a general weighted average of 75% in any semester. Next, dropping. A student may drop any and all subjects at any time prior to the final exams. Dropping of subjects must be made in the prescribed form. Dropping of any subject shall not be valid unless approved by the dean, officially reported to the registrar, and entered into the student's permanent record. Any student who fails to comply with the above requirements does not obtain the expressed approval of the dean and fails to comply with other requirements as may be provided from time to time and shall be given a grade of 60%. A student who fails or drops the same subject thrice will not be allowed to retake said subject and shall be barred from re-enrollment unless otherwise approved by the dean. Lastly, cancellation. Cancellation of enrollment means dropping of all subjects which may be done by a student until the end of the adjustment period as announced by the university registrar. No cancellation of registration shall be valid unless approved by the dean, officially reported to the registrar, and entered into the student's permanent record. Discipline: dedication to study, respect for authority, strict observance of the rules and regulations of the university, and unfailing courtesy are expected at all times of all students of the institute. The administration, after due process, reserves the right to suspend, dismiss from the institute at any time, expel, or strike from the list of candidates for graduation and/or withhold the FEU diploma from any student whom it may deem unworthy. Any of the following acts shall constitute a ground for suspension, dismissal, or denial of re-enrollment. First, hazing or the act of requiring any person to undergo tests or other procedures involving violence or affronts to personal dignity in any form in violation of the anti-hazing law, whether the same results in death, physical injuries, insanity, or mental illness, for the purpose of initiation, admission, or continuance of membership in any organization, society, or group, whether open or secret. For this purpose, the members who, being present and with full knowledge of the acts constituting hazing being committed in their presence, shall be liable, whether they actually participated in the act of hazing or not. The officers of the organization, society, or group shall equally be liable, whether present or not, during the initiation rites. Second, assaulting or threatening any student, faculty member, or university official, including members of the staff, personnel, and/or security force, whether the same occurs within or outside the premises of the institute, which results in death, physical injuries, or damage to property, and whether committed alone, in connivance with others, or with accomplices. Third, using, selling, transferring, or carrying prohibited or dangerous weapons or drugs within the university premises. Fourth, forging or tampering of school records or transfer forms, securing or using forged transfer credentials, or any material misdeclaration in the admission application or enrollment form or any other document required for admission or enrollment. Fifth, cheating in written examinations and or during oral recitations without prejudice to academic sanctions which may be imposed. Sixth, violation of any condition imposed for the admission or enrollment of a student. Seventh, violation of the standards of professional ethics established for lawyers or commission of acts which otherwise adversely reflects on the fitness of the student for admission to the bar. 8. Bullying under Republic Act 10627. Sexual harassment shall include acts but not limited to those defined in Republic Act 7877, acts of lasciviousness or assaults committed against any student or personnel within the university. And lastly, any act committed outside of the university campus that is prejudicial to the reputation, basic philosophy, and educational thrust of the university as a whole. Any of the following acts shall constitute a ground for reprimand, suspension, fine, dismissal, expulsion, or denial of re-enrollment, depending on the severity of the offense. First, failure to comply with academic or administrative regulations such as the no smoking ban, which may from time to time be issued by the dean or other university officials, including the rules, regulations, and procedures established for the use of the library. Second, conduct by itself or in conjunction with the conduct of others, which disrupts or impairs the effective operations of the university or other activities sponsored or authorized by the university, instigating, leading, or participating in activities leading to disruption or stoppage of classes, and preventing or threatening students, faculty members, and/or university authorities from attending classes, entering the university premises, or discharging their functions. Third, vandalism, conduct resulting in damage or abuse of university properties, facilities, or services including library materials. Fourth, illegal conduct involving moral turpitude, whether the same is also subject to criminal sanctions, and regardless of whether convicted or not. Fifth, acts involving dishonesty, fraud, or deceit, such as but not limited to plagiarism. Seventh, commission or omission of acts that shall impede administration of university discipline or involving university discipline, or any other act similar or analogous to the foregoing. In closing, the detailed rules and regulations and policies are contained in your student handbook, As students of the Institute, you are assumed to have read and understood what is contained in your handbook. Remember, ignorance of the law does not excuse non-compliance. You are provided an electronic copy of the student handbook, and you will also be provided a hard copy once physical classes resume. Your handbook contains rules and regulations specific to the Institute of Law. As students of the Far Eastern University, you are still subject to the Student Code of Conduct. Welcome to FEU Law. We are FEU Law and we are braver together.